Today I want to talk about something that's creating a crazy amount of buzz in the gaming world, and it's the new handheld device from Xbox, and it's not this ROG Ally X, it's actually the Xbox Ally X. Looks familiar, doesn't it? But I'm not here to just break down the specs from the press release. I'm here to actually talk about this device from my opinion as someone who uses the ASUS ROG Ally X as a daily gaming machine, not just as a handheld machine, but also as a desktop through USB 4. Now, just to give you some context, I'm a director of photography and content creator, and for the past 15 plus years, I've been using Apple computers for all of my video editing. For a long time, I relied on Boot Camp to run Windows on my Mac, and that let me keep everything on one machine, edit professionally, and still game when I had the time. But now with Apple Silicon, Boot Camp is no longer an option, so recently I hit a point where I needed a dedicated Windows device for gaming, and this is where the ROG Ally X came in, and honestly, it solved everything. It's small, it's powerful, it's portable, and with USB 4, I can use a bunch of my Apple peripherals, monitors, hubs, drives, just like I do with my Mac. That kind of compatibility is rare, and I was seriously impressed. So for someone like me who's deep into the creative world but still wants to game, this is the kind of machine that I've been waiting for. If you're debating on whether to wait for the Xbox or grab an Ally X right now, this video is going to be for you. First, let's talk about price. The ASUS Ally X originally came out for $799. There was a regular Ally version that did come out first for $650, albeit it was a little bit less powerful. We'll get to that in a bit, but there is a price difference, and now this Ally X is at $899. So we don't know exactly where the Xbox is going to come in price-wise, but I think the price is going to be a huge factor in whether buying the Xbox version of the Ally X or the Ally X itself makes more sense, especially because the main difference between the two is going to be the fact that the new Xbox version of the Ally X has the newer chipset, but otherwise RAM, storage, all the same as the Ally X. And as you can see from right here, very similar in design. The Xbox version, you just have the extra handles right here on the sides, which do make for a little bit more of a comfortable gaming experience. The differences between the original ROG Ally and ROG Ally X are definitely more than the Xbox versions, because the original ROG Ally didn't even have USBs on the top. It had some proprietary thing that would break out into USBs, and not only does the ROG Ally X have USBs, but it also has one USB 4 port that I use to plug in my Thunderbolt docks that I use with my Mac computers, and I'm able to use most of the devices I use with my Apple laptops with this ROG Ally X, especially when I want to just plug it in, use it as a desktop. It's automatically plugged into up to 2 monitors. I have my keyboard and mouse there. I have external storage, everything through the USB 4 port. Not to mention, you can also get an external GPU, so down the line, if this GPU starts to age, or you just want to run more GPU intense games and you're willing to run this kind of like a desktop, or at least plugged into something, you can with an external GPU. The Ally X version of the Xbox will have USB 4 as well, so it's expected that you'll be able to get this external GPU support on the Ally X version. Now, the Xbox regular Ally will not have USB 4, which means you will not be able to use external GPU solutions, but it does at least have USBs on the top of the original Ally, just like the Ally X, although, again, not USB 4. So you'll get some USB functionality, where on the original Ally that ASUS came out with, you had to have that whole breakout dock for the proprietary thing. I know. We hate proprietary things here. So as you can imagine, with my enthusiasm over this, I use my ROG Ally X every day, whether I'm traveling or at home, just because of how convenient it is. It's so small, and as a director of photography and content creator, I normally use Apple computers, so this whole thing over the past few years of having to use Boot Camp so I didn't have to have multiple computers, it saved me up until about this year, which is where I discovered the Ally X, and I liked it just because of how small this device is compared to other gaming PCs, and the fact that I could use it as a desktop and it doesn't take up much room on my desk. The USB 4, it fits in my Apple ecosystem, and I don't mind having an additional computer at this point because it doesn't take up that much space. At home, I plug this into my USB 4 Thunderbolt 4 dock from OWC, and not only does it charge the device, but I can also hook up to 2 displays to that dock. I have my mouse, my keyboard hooked up, as I said earlier, external memory, whatever else you need through that Thunderbolt display. Whatever else I need is all through the Thunderbolt dock, so I'm just hooking up one cord to the USB 4 port, and I'm good to go. There's not a lot, and I think the only other thing I really hook up sometimes is a headset right here into where you can plug in headphones, just so I can communicate on Fortnite, PUBG, Call of Duty. This also works with my AirPods, and it works with the microphone on the AirPods, so when I'm on the go, I'm using my AirPods. When I'm home, I'm using my wired headset. But it all comes down to, because this is in the handheld form factor, but it also has a decent battery, this is a great portable gaming setup. I mean, that's what this thing is meant for, but the fact that I could use it in a desktop configuration and play games that don't necessarily work with the controller, but will work with a mouse and keyboard, really fantastic. Since the Ally X runs Windows, as you can see right here, this boots directly into Windows, and so you can get your Windows functionality, use other applications that aren't necessarily gaming related, but you can actually use this device with the mouse as long as you click right here. And as you see, I am scrolling around. I can click on things, double click right here, and I can use it without a mouse. And then there is a virtual keyboard on here. But for productivity, it's probably best to hook this thing up to a Thunderbolt display or a monitor with a mouse and keyboard, so you can get your productivity, Word documents, whatever it is, done easier. I have experimented with video editing on this. It's not the best. It's not the fastest. I still rather use my base model Macs. They just work a little bit smoother. But I guess in a pinch, you could edit on this, but I wouldn't edit in this handheld mode. I'd definitely hook it up into a desktop configuration. Now, here's what's interesting about the Xbox version. It's going to boot directly into Xbox OS. It skips the Windows desktop entirely and goes straight into a console-like experience. That means faster load times, less memory overhead, and probably better performance in games. That's a huge plus for people, especially if you're not into tweaking your settings or dealing with Windows updates. But for someone like me, that could actually be a deal breaker. And if you're like me and you want hybrid flexibility, the Xbox version may actually not be the best fit. Again, we're going to have to wait and see what the features are when this thing is actually released and gets into our hands. Now let's be real, Windows handhelds like the Ally X aren't always perfect. You'll get the occasional game crash, driver issue, or system hiccup. It's part of the PC gaming experience, and I'm used to that. But if you're coming from a console, it may be frustrating. So this Xbox first approach they're taking might actually be a smart move for performance and stability. It'll probably feel more like playing on an Xbox Series X than a gaming laptop in your hands. And if they nail that reliability, it could be a huge win. So here's how they stack up spec-wise. Both the Xbox Ally X and ROG Ally X come with 24 gigs of RAM and a 1TB SSD. The regular Ally from Xbox and the regular Ally from ASUS has 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. But one nice change is Xbox finally ditched the proprietary port on the regular Ally, and they gave us 2 USB-C ports. It's great, but just to note, they are not USB 4. The ROG Ally X has 2 USB ports and one is USB 4, and that makes a huge difference when you're using docking or high-speed peripherals. As for battery life, the Ally has 60 watt hours and the Ally X actually has an 80 watt hour battery. I get just under 2 hours of gaming while on the go, which is enough for me because I'm never really gaming for more than 2 hours, especially when I'm away. At the end of the day, I've been really impressed with how powerful the ROG Ally X actually is. It's powerful, it's flexible, and it fits into my life perfectly. And what I've realized is, this new generation of handheld PCs, it's not just a trend. This is the future of gaming, especially for adults who like to video game. Adult gamers who want one machine that does it all, this is for you. Yes, it's pricier than something like a Nintendo Switch 2, but you get the Game Pass from Xbox, Steam, Epic, Battle.net, your entire library across platforms. And if you're someone like me who lives in both the creative and gaming world, the ROG Ally X just makes sense. Maybe even the Xbox Ally X will make sense for you, depending on what you need out of this thing. So should you wait for the Xbox version, or should you just grab the original Ally X? If you want full desktop control, Windows flexibility, and a hybrid workflow, the Ally X is still one of the best handhelds out there. If you're looking for a smooth console-like experience without the complexity, the Xbox version just may be your jam. Either way, handheld gaming is getting serious, and I'm all here for it. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about getting. Are you going to get the Xbox version of the Ally X, the original, or are you just going to go get a Nintendo Switch 2? Let me know down below. If you got knowledge and value out of today's video, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep up to date with the latest videos on the channel. And until next time, my name's Jeff Fagien. Thank you for joining me as always, and I will catch you in the next video.